Hi, OJ. You need to hear this. I can't hold it in any longer. The weight of it is so unbearable. My name is Ifoma. I'm 22 years old, coming from a very wealthy family in the affluent areas of Lagos. I am living with a forbidden secret I shared with my father only, and I can't do it anymore. My father, 64 years old, is an influential man, a member of the government, one of those who have shaped the country's future. He has everything: money, power, and connections. Since I was a little girl, I've always been under his wings, admiring his life of luxury, those first class trips to Brussels, Paris, New York. Every holiday, OJ, it was the same, a routine of luxury I had become used to. In our household, everything was orchestrated with precision. Personal chauffeurs, villas scattered around the world, five-star hotels. I was the eldest, my father's favorite amongst the three other siblings. And then one day, everything changed. That day, my father called me into his office. It was unusual, but he had a more serious look. Sitting in front of him, I still remember the conversation that changed my life forever. Ifeoma, do you love me? He asked in a gentle voice. Yes, Daddy, of course. I love you. You are the man I loved most in the world. I replied without hesitation. And do you love the life you lead? We travel, the luxury, all these beautiful things I give you. Yes, Daddy, I adore all of them. Thank you for everything. He smiled, but something strange flickered in his eyes. Then he continued. You know, my daughter, all these things come with a price. Nothing is free in this world. I was confused, OJ. What price? Everything seems so perfect, so easy. I am part of a mystical group, Ifoma. He revealed after a long silence. All these privileges we have, they come with sacrifices. And now, it's your turn to make a choice. If you want this life to continue, you must help me. Otherwise, everything will fall apart. I will die and we will become poor. I looked at him, the words swelling in my head, unable to comprehend. For the first time, I saw my father cry, tears streaming down his face. But how, Daddy? Hmm. The group demanded that I conceive a child with you, my first daughter. My stomach churned. My own father have a child with me. It was unthinkable. I stood up, trembling, unable to understand what he had just said. He calmed me down with a gentleness that terrified me. You have 1 month to think about it, Ifoma. I won't force you. But know that if you refuse, I will die. And you, your mother, your siblings, will all lose everything. You will live like beggars. His words hit me like a punch, OJ. My own father, a child, with me. How was it possible? I was lost, completely shaken. For days, I couldn't stop thinking, tormented by the thought. How could I refuse anything to the man who has given me everything? A man who had always been there for me, who made me who I am. How could I let him die? At 22, I had never done anything by myself. Every task was handled by someone else. And the idea of living in poverty without all these privileges, it was unbearable. I saw how the poor lived in the streets, their misery, their struggle for every little comfort. Could I really accept such a life? No, it was impossible, OJ. I had never known lack. So what was I supposed to do? 1 month later, I made a decision. I accepted. It's at this point that I would ask that you subscribe to the channel, share a comment, and like the story, because that is the only way you encourage me to bring you more stories and confessions. Please subscribe. Let's go. The first sexual encounters with my father were strange and disturbing. But deep down, there was an emotion I couldn't define. This man, my father, was everything to me. He was my hero, the man I had always admired. Over time, the forbidden encounters took a different turn. I found myself not waiting for him to come to me. It was me who went to him, me who sought after him. I was almost in love with my own father. We continued like this for months until I became pregnant. It was a shock for me, but also a liberation. We found an excuse. I told everyone it was an imaginary boyfriend from university who had got me pregnant before fleeing. No one ever questioned, and that's how Kelechi was born. A child hidden, born from our forbidden union. But even after Kelechi's birth, the encounters didn't stop. On the contrary, every month my father came to see me and we resumed. It was part of the pact. He told me he could stop at any moment, but I had to know what would happen if he stopped. He would die and we would lose everything. The only way to maintain our dream life was to continue. Today, Kelechi is 5 years. He believes his grandfather is just a protective and caring man. He has no idea of what really goes on. But I can't continue anymore, OJ. I want a normal life, meet someone, marry, have a family for myself. But each time I think about stopping, I see my father's face and this crushing weight on my shoulders. He tells me as he will never force me, but I know if I stop, I will lose him. I am trapped, OJ. I'm a prisoner of this cursed promise. And yet, a part of me has never been able to break this strange, unhealthy bond. What should I do? How can I escape this hell without condemning my father to a certain death? I am reaching out to you because I can't talk to anyone. I am lost. I want to get out of this life. But how? My father says he loves me and is doing it to protect us. But I am not sure anymore, OJ. I don't know where I'm going or how to find a normal life again. What should I do? Please, I'm desperately in need of guidance. Here's a stranger story of how Northern Hijab Abuja women eat feces for money. Very strange, yeah.